Great meet at Boston. Boston's here to do a little recap of all my lifters at it. I'm very excited about how everybody did. This was not only a highlight of my career, this is actually one of the highlights of my life, and I've lived a very good life. I'm very blessed, very fortunate. I was so excited to be a part of this. And Dan and Sparkle Green did an absolutely wonderful job running that event, so hats off to them. I always recommend people go to that meet if they can, because the atmosphere is totally like electric. The energy is contagious. It's awesome there. I love it. So anyways, Julius Maddux, all-time world record there. Very exciting stuff. All those isometrics, working that top little part of that lift paid off. All that tricep work, all that back work paid off. You know, he put so much work in to get that last inch, you know, of 10 pounds, but that plateau is busted now. So now we're gonna see this go a lot higher there. And I mean, it was just totally great, clean lift. Spotter got excited, hit the barbell at the end, before, you know, putting his hand up and hit the barbell. I'm just glad nobody was hurt. You can appreciate the young man's enthusiasm, but just thankful nobody was hurt. I am so proud of Julius on this. This whole meet was like it's almost eerie. I do a lot of visualizing. I've talked about it before on this. I do it in float tanks a lot of times too. So I sit there and float. And I mean, like it was eerie, like how I felt like my hands connected to the bar to lift it off and stuff. Exactly how I visualized it, like played out, so similar. I did not visualize the incident happening at Julius already at the rack command spotter at the bar. I did not visualize that part, but everything else was to a T. That's why I was texting them, you know, which way is the bench going to face this, and it exactly went down like that. So I am so excited for Julius. I am so proud of him. He's put in so much work, both not only physically and mentally. So it's a huge, and Julius did awesome. You know, that's going to be an opener soon. Let's get into the rest of the meet. So James Strickland, great meet there. Totaled he hit a 760 squat. Then he hit a 639 bench, which is an all-time world record for a 3-lift meet in 308s. And you know, made a hell of an attempt at 667. Just got the bar. He kind of pushed toward his feet and just kind of lost his groove there. And then made a 782-pound deadlift, which was exciting. But I think what was more cool about it was he missed that on a second attempt and so he came back and got it. I mean, that takes a big old set of cojones. So I actually was going to do a different feature on his squat and deadlift, but I'll kind of cover that here of some of the things that helped James total so high. So what James does year round, he goes a little bit lighter on squats and deadlifts. So when he's not having a full meet coming up, he'll take those lifts a little bit lighter, but what that allows him to do is refine his technique, stay in the groove type of deal, but he's not like pushing it to where his central nervous system gets too fatigued, because I always talk about your central nervous system is like a cup of tea. When you pour too much tea in that cup and it overflows, that's when overtraining can happen. So if you're training for bench press only, you don't need to be, you know, squatting and deadlifting, you know, with absolute maximal loads. So what that gives him a chance is to perform these lifts with perfect technique in the off season. He does them in a compensatory acceleration style, so even though it's not a maximal weight, he's putting maximal force in the bar every single rep, every single set. Also, another thing that he does, and what you benchers should do, is if you're not using hook grip, deadlift with straps. You risk a bicep tear when you go over under, and if it's not for a big total, no point of doing it. So I recommend this for general fitness populations too that aren't gonna do a meet. If you're not doing the hook grip, go overhand with straps. You can work your grip in other ways, and that's what he did. So, you know, not taking that risk of tearing a bicep, you know, asymmetrical development, all that kind of stuff. So another thing that helped James a lot was squatting with an overload. So he felt that weight. So what he does is just pick up and hold the weight for 5 seconds. When you do that, you don't need to do like some crazy walkout, partial squat, anything like that. Just pick the weight up, hold it for, you know, 5 seconds. You can go about 10% over your max. I mean, if you're gonna go for a 600-pound squat, I'm sure you can work your way up to 1,100 pounds on this lift, but I don't think it's necessary. Just get 10% over, fill it for 5 seconds, okay? And, you know, another thing James did really well is before he was a little awkward, like a bull in a china shop sometimes with his squats and his deadlifts, but now he's kind of refined that. So if he has a problem like on a squat, it was just like, you know, once in a while, you know, in training, one time he cut the depth too high. It's like a normal mistake. It wasn't like first time squatting, and he really looks in a very refined groove. And so that was very exciting. And the other thing with deadlifts is really work the isometrics, and that was huge on pulling through those sticking points. And he's also doing a really good job now of wedging down to the bar, getting tight, and actually pulling the slack out of the bar, you know, instead of just going, you know. So when we talk about pulling the slack out of the bar, what that means is the deadlift is not a jerk. It's like a squeeze. and you want to make that squeeze as fast as possible without turning it into a jerk. So you want to make it a speed pull, but you can't jerk it off the floor. Okay, and then the other thing we did with them was combine squats and deadlifts. So I got used to doing those lifts on the same day, but when it got real heavy, we separated them. You know what? At someone of that caliber, he's got the mind where it goes to a meet day, he's going to put it together. So awesome stuff. Very proud of this guy. You know, I mean, he's all-time bench world record, you know, all-time 3-lift bench world record at 308, all-time world record period at 308 will go down soon. Great job, James. Okay, Rob Hall. Rob Hall, been to hell and back in the last year, and he charged at hell with a bucket of ice, threw it at him, played craps the devil himself, and he's back. So that was the main thing, to get Rob back on the platform. But Rob didn't just get back on the platform. You know, he went all, I mean, he did great. He get 782 squats. So what, you know, 760 second attempt, or 766, excuse me. He got, I'll post one of these lifts on the Instagram too. He got out of the groove. And, you know, so what he did is a 782 on the third attempt was a very fast rep. He got great speed on that rep. And so Rob lost his technique on the second. So, you know, I say, you know what, I'd rather get struck out going for home than running back to third. So let's do this on the third attempt. 782, got in that groove. And that's actually easier than a second attempt at 766. So that was very exciting there. Rob at a 562 bench, close miss at 589. And on deadlift was very exciting. You know, he pulled that 799 like nothing. He smoked that weight. And he went up to 832 after that and just missed it at the top. And I mean, it was a hell of an effort. And he usually doesn't miss that spot, but I mean, great effort. And I'm so proud of him, because now it's no longer, hey Rob, let's get you back on the platform. It's like, hey, now it's more like, hey Rob, let's set some world records now. And you know, no more playing tiddlywinks to get you back on the platform. It's time to kick some ass and take it to the next level. And I know you're 100% capable of it. You know, a lot of people would have been out of the game at this point, but the character Rob's shown, it's unprecedented. So, I mean, the sky's the limit from here. So, very exciting stuff for Rob. Okay, TD Davis next. TD Jakes, just kidding. Sorry, Reverend. TD Davis, awesome first full meet, totaled 22:37. Okay, so I've been involved with powerlifting for a long time. My first meet was 1995. So I remember reading those old Powerlifting USA magazines. And, you know, sometimes the highest total in the world for a super heavyweight in gear, wearing powerlifting equipment, would be 2,200 pounds or so. So TD hit 22:37 in his first meet. Okay, so what interesting about that is he actually missed his opener. You know what? He was like kind of stumbling around, you know, like, you know, a Dubliner in Ireland had, you know, a little too much drink on St. Patrick's Day or something. So anyways, he got refocused, and he actually, you know, missed the command on squat, missed his opener. We jumped him anyways. And he ended up finishing with 804. And he got that, you know, I said, you got to tighten this down. You got to screw those feet into the ground. You have to keep that walkout tight. And you know what? He answered the call. Where he trains at is in, it's, what the hell's the name of that place? It's in South Bend. Michael Baxter's the owner. At East Race Muscle, South Bend, Indiana. Came out there to actually wrap, I mean, his training partner, gym owner, came out there to wrap him. All the way from, I mean, total class act, and got it done, and he ended up squatting 810. And you know what? By the way that looked, he probably, I don't know where the top end was, because I mean, he wasn't a squatter before, so he's gone up so much so fast. By the way the bar moved, I mean, there's 1,000-pound squatters probably couldn't move 810 that fast, but we don't know where the top end is at. But we know it was a hell of a lot higher than 810. From there, on the bench press, hit at 622. Made him pause forever. And then on the second attempt, jumped him up to 644. Again, same thing. I think the judges didn't like his style or something, because he sinks it in, but he does not heave the weight. So he sinks it in dead stop. It's like they're waiting for it to sink longer. They gave him a super long pause. So you know what? That's cards were dealt. So instead of, you know, screwing around and trying a third attempt and possibly getting hurt or not getting the lift and draining him, said, all right, you know what? We'll throw the towel in here, but we got a little bit extra on the deadlift. So on deadlift, 810, hit. I mean, how many people have benched, over 600, 800 the same meet, and then, that huge squat on top of it. Couldn't be proud of this guy. Strongest law enforcement officer in the world. Great job. Okay, on to Ogden. Ogden Michael Bus came out there, some issues with his knee. Had just done the tribute meet a few weeks earlier. But Ogden is, he's not one to surrender. The guy's on his way to world records, and he even hit a 507-pound bench, was a highlight. Got a 744 squat in his second attempt. Was called on depth. It could have gone either way. I'm not saying it was not a bad call. It's just it could have gone either way. And 507 bench. Very proud of him there. And he really came back on that deadlift. He hit 854 and made a very gallant attempt at 881. And the thing, so with Ogden, it's you change the starting position a little bit in the deadlift there. And just, smoked it. So proud of this guy, and he's had a huge year. He definitely needs some downtime, some off-season training, but very excited about where this is going, okay? So, Adam Furchin. Adam came out there, New York. Very proud of this guy, too. 1950 total, weighing in at 218. And he was actually on the Friday, not the Saturday of the pro day. And he should be on the pro day, and I'm sure he'll be invited to that next year. But what makes this more exciting is that PR total is you got the 766 PR squat, and the total is, he's had a huge year. His business is growing like crazy. And he ran something like 20 USPA meets in the great state of New York, so I couldn't be happier and more proud of this guy. So all in all, it's just an amazing experience, great time, well-run meet. Lifters did awesome, and I could not be more excited. So great job, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.